Welcome to the program. He is Jacob Warren. I am Dave Hooker. It's time for the Vol Report, brought to you by Batsy Lawn and Garden. The guy just keeps winning. An Orange Bowl victory. Congratulations, Jacob. How did that feel? Prime time Friday night. Everybody
Yeah,
watch not only win but dominate. Good stuff.
yeah, thank you. Yeah, it was huge, man. Just to think about, the fact that we watched that game. Usually, either I've watched the game at home before, right? Because we weren't at a bowl or at another bowl. What I mean, watching it on the TV and just kind of thinking about, the Orange Bowl's a big one, right? New Year's Six, and it's a big deal, and it was a big opponent, and the stadium was amazing, and the venue was awesome, and just kind of the magnitude of the game kind of all came to realization, after once we're in it, right, and once we're playing in it, and kind of realized, this feels bigger than other games, and the fact that we were able to win the game and win the game the way we did, obviously, whatever, we won't get into it because I could be over analytical at all times, but we won the game, and it was a good showing, and we had a great time, so super exciting.
Click on that thumbs up button. Again, the Vol Report is brought to you by Bassy Lawn and Garden. Man alive, it's worth the drive. Whether you're in Nashville, Knoxville, Chattanooga, it's in Cleveland. They've got industrial mowers. They've got the commercial mowers and residential mowers for you. Bassy.com. Bassy Lawn and Garden. Man alive, it's worth the drive. So, Jacob, get a little analytical if you don't mind, because I thought that Clemson threw a lot of things at you guys, not only in
Mm.
the front, but in the secondary as well. So, was this as much of a mental game as maybe one you faced all year?
Yeah, so when you go against a team like this, right, that is very multiple and what they're able to do, just because their personnel, they had a lot of solid, interior linemen, and their linebackers played well, and so it allowed them to do a lot of different things up front, going in and out of different, 3 down looks, 4 down looks, 5 up looks, you know, 3-3 stacks. Like, I know I'm maybe speaking Spanish here, but just they were able to do a lot of different things that forced us to have a lot of different, different checks and different ways that we're maybe blocking certain run schemes. So, you know, if it's a 3 down front, we're going to run this way. If it's a 4 down front, we're going to run it this way. If it's 5 up, we're going to run it this way. And that's pretty normal, I think, going into a game. But you know, Clemson truly, got in and out of all of those a lot. Generally, a team will kind of settle into one that they think might be the best versus us. But Clemson got in and out of a lot of different fronts and a lot of different coverages, and gave us some trouble. Realistically, every once in a while, obviously we were able to move the ball a little bit and have some drives that we put together once we figured everything out. But there were some drives that kind of stalled out. After 3 plays, or maybe get the first down and then not able to move the ball anymore. And that's a credit to them. They had a good scheme and good players, but luckily we were able to figure it out and go and execute.
I think it's a pretty big credit to Joe Milton, who he has experience, but not like a ton. It's not like he's a
Yeah.
your starter to be able to go out there and decipher that type of defense. What did you think of his play?
Man, yeah, I was excited for Joe. I think that it's been pretty obvious that I feel extremely confident in Joe, and just the way that I talk on this podcast, and the way that if anyone asked me, I would speak about it. But yeah, he did a good job of preparing. This past week at the bowl site, right? It's easy for guys to get distracted, or um, at practice just be excited about the weather, right? It was warm instead of cold, so people just being loose and people not whatever. But there's a level of that, but it's also a level of him, understanding the assignment, understanding that we're gonna, get a lot of different things from the defense, and he's gonna be the one that's gonna have to lead us through all of it. So, yeah, he did a great job. Obviously, won the MVP, and congratulations to him. And he's more than deserving, and just happy for him to be able to step up and do that.
You probably didn't see it because even if you've watched the game, you're probably watching the All 22. You're not watching the TV broadcast. But I thought Josh Heupel was so funny in the beginning. They interviewed him just moments before the game as he's standing on the field, and he just goes, "Oh, Joe will be fine." Just
Yeah.
like like it was. I mean, like it was a given. And I'm
Hmm.
thinking, this is do we really 100% know that? But that confidence, where where did where do you think that comes from? Because you guys said it all along, and in the media, we wondered, is this just coach talk speak? And
Yeah.
no, you guys are absolutely right. Where does that confidence in him come from?
It just comes from him. Like um, he is a very confident person in himself and his abilities in our team. Um, just in everything, right? And that's not a diss. That's not a bad thing. That's an amazing thing. He's confident. He's not going to be someone that is in your face about whatever and is super cocky about things. And we all might get there sometimes just because of the circumstances. But no, he's just super confident in his abilities and his preparation, and that kind of forces other people to feel the same amount of confidence, right? Obviously, you've heard me say it. Coach Hype says it right before the game. We're going out there. He's oh yeah, Joe's fine. Joe will be all right because we truly believe it because Joe believes it. Joe knows he'll be fine. So if Joe knows he'll be fine, then you know why should we worry about him? Like we shouldn't worry about it as long as he's comfortable and he's ready to roll. Then we're good.
Click that thumbs up button. I want to ask you about your future. Again, the thumbs up button helps us get to more Tennessee fans, and we greatly appreciate that. The Ball Report brought to you by Bassey Lawn and Garden. They've also got the hedgers, the trimmers, the blowers for residential use. And again, when it comes to commercial and industrial, there's nothing like Bassey Lawn and Garden. Bassey.com, man alive, it's worth the drive. So you'd said before the bowl game you were going to take your time, which I think is very wise to make your decision. You do have 1 year of eligibility to return, or you can go on to the NFL. If just kind of if you can let us know what sort of maybe time frame you're looking at and the factors that go into that decision, because I know you haven't made it quite yet.
Yeah. So just timeline. I think obviously it's getting to the point where you kind of have to make a decision, and I think probably next week or so, I think I will feel comfortable with whatever decision I make. Again, like it's truly back and forth right now, just because I mean, like you can imagine, plenty of great opportunities in both. Right, there's great opportunities beyond here, and there's great opportunities that are here for me, and it'll just be a matter of deciding what's going to make make me happiest, and I'm going to feel most comfortable, and I'm going to be able to thrive the most, whether that's here or whether that's leaving and going to play in the NFL, because obviously the NFL is something that I've wanted to do since I was a little kid, and with that opportunity right in front of me, it's pretty cool to just to think about that being a possibility. But at the same time, it's I want to make sure I'm making the best decision for myself and for my future self and for my future family, and yeah.
How much more complicated? And I've said for 15, 20 years that you guys deserved a bigger or at least a piece of the pie. But
Yeah.
with NIL, you're very engaging. You're one of the good guys. Well, there's a bunch of good guys on this team, but
Yeah.
you've been able to benefit from that. So how much does that complicate the decision? The fact that you're not getting by from just the aid that you receive. There's a business aspect to it as well.
Yeah, obviously that's a, a major aspect of it. Being able to grow, I guess, my brand here in Knoxville, and just, I know we are separated from that power team and legally, but being able to just kind of continue to build the legacy here. And obviously, there's a lot of doors that open, with NIL. Being able to connect with people like you, and with I work with Craven Wings and local wing spot, and yeah, man, there's a lot of opportunities, and it kind of makes it a little bit easier to, I guess, stay, right, because you're going to have that supplemental income as on top of whatever scholarship and stuff. So obviously, money here won't compare to money in the NFL because that's just on different levels, but it shouldn't, and it doesn't. But obviously, it would still be nice to be able to have a little bit of income on the side from just the work that I do for whether it's stuff like this or marketing or whatever it may be, just kind of building my brand, and yeah, making money off my name, image, and likeness attached to what I do on the field. So
Well, I'm voting you stay, but there are I don't think you I don't
Right.
think take my thoughts into consideration at all. So you do
Well,
what's right.
it's appreciated. It's appreciated whether I take it in consideration or
Yeah.
not.
And I can tell you, David Bassey at Bassey Lawn and Garden is hoping you stay as well.
Hmm.
Again, be sure to hit that thumbs up button. We greatly appreciate it. It's funny how many people I ask you about, and we've talked about Squirrel, and he's a
Yeah.
fun player to watch. He has a neat name. Joe takes over, so we obviously talk about Joe. Brew McCoy had the transfer issues. So we talked about Brew. I don't know that we've talked about Ramel Keaton and what he's like as a person, but he's always
Yeah.
there when you need him, and he was in the Orange Bowl
Hmm.
too. What can you tell me about Ramel as a dude?
Yeah. As a dude, just man, I feel like I may have mentioned this before. Super quiet, super reserved. Like whenever he's in big groups, and then you get, you know, I'm not the closest with him, but I've seen him just kind of interact with the people that he's close with, and he obviously opens up a little bit and stuff, and will joke around and everything, just like a normal person would. But yeah, super quiet, just kind of goes to work. Truly one of the I don't even know how to say this. He's always the one getting extra work. If someone's in the facilities getting more work or catching more jugs machines or working on the top of his route or whatever, it's him every time, or at least him with a group of other guys. So yeah, it's no surprise to me or to anyone on our team that he shows up in those big moments because he's prepared for those big moments, like those deep balls. Like you saw how effortlessly it was a little double move, whatever, and he just runs under that ball, and like it just looks like it just kind of just drops in his hands, and he's not even really, he wasn't like trying to focus real hard. It's just because he's done it so many times. I watched him catch that ball after practice so many times, and yeah, he shows up big with those big catches. I remember the big diving catch too that everybody talks about, and yeah, just stuff like that is not surprising. It's obviously it's great to see it, and it's cool. It's a cool play, and it is surprising to see it in person. But yeah, he prepares the right way, so he's definitely more than capable of making those plays.
He seems to me like one of those players, and I've seen a lot of them that are very, very good one year and could take another leap forward the next year. And do you see that in him? Do you see another gear that he can go into in 2023?
I agree. I definitely think that that's a position that he's in. Just all of us, everyone, maybe except Brew. Like Brew is jacked for some reason, but everybody on the on the offensive skill side can take that next step in just their body progression, right? Making our bodies look, you know, whatever, better, bigger, stronger, faster. We all, I think, can take that next step. Um, but yeah, I think just how much more he's gonna put into it, this offseason, knowing that it's time to go have a really big year. I think he'll be fully prepared, and you'll see him make a lot of plays for us, next year and whatever. If he stays one more, then it's one more. If it's however many more he has, then it's however many more he has. So
Well, I can feel for Brew. That's what they always say about me when I'm at the gym. Why are you here? You're so
I'm
jacked.
sure. Yeah, you don't need to be here, dude. Take the day off, bro. Golly. Put your muscles up, man. Golly.
Put them up a little bit. Yeah. Um, no, no great transition here, but yeah, I'm watched the whole season, and I don't want anybody to get hurt for either team. But in particular, getting to know you and Cooper, I'm just always like, when you guys would get banged up, even my wife's like, "Oh man, say a little prayer here," and
Yeah.
we would. And but I'm watching Monday Night Football, and
Mm.
I see Damar Hamlin, and I see this is not just an injury. This is scary. As a player, when you're watching something like that, whether or not you saw it live or you've heard about it since, what goes through your mind?
Yeah. It's weird because you step onto the field with the um like not thinking about that. That's the last thing on your mind whenever you step on the field. Because if that was what you thought about all the time, whenever you're on the field, you wouldn't play the game. So I think that every day you step on the field, you understand that risk, but that risk is very much in the back of your head because of just how many banked reps you have where it's like, yeah, okay, I took that hit and I was okay. Like I'm sure a hit extremely similar to that happened last night has happened hundreds of thousands of times, and it will happen hundreds of thousands of times after this. And um, I saw something. I don't know the whole official story or whatever, but there was a doctor talking about it, how he had just happened to get hit at that like the right moment where he gets hit on the right spot, and it just happened to send him into the fibrillation or whatever it was. And man, hopefully, pray to God that they're able to help him and able to you know fully recover his heart and his body. And um, man, it is scary, man. It's scary from a player's perspective. It's scary from just a human being perspective of how quickly things can change and how fragile everything is. And yeah, you kind of just have to, man, just trust that the Lord's going to protect your body. I pray every day that the Lord protects my body, my mind, and my soul as I play the game. And He has so far. And um, you know, that's all you can do is trust that you'll be all right and that everything's going to work itself out.
Yeah, and one thing I think that maybe fans don't sometimes understand: for every play in a game, you've had 100 reps in practice or more.
Yeah,
And let's face it, there's a big difference between an ankle and head, neck, internal organs. Okay,
yeah.
and unfortunately, I've been around one of those situations where it got really scary at a practice. Um, have you ever been around a situation in practice or anything where you're like you were really concerned about the long term health of one of your teammates?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like obviously no names and stuff, but there's just been times whenever like a guy maybe not like a hit or anything like, um, but there's been times when yeah guys have had neck issues or back issues, and you can tell immediately like, okay, that's like we need to stop practice like for right now, and let's focus on this and make sure this is okay. You know what I mean? Before we carry on. Sometimes it's yeah, like you said, it's different from an ankle. If a guy gets rolled up on, it gets an ankle or something, it's it sounds bad, but it's hey, move the ball down 15 yards and like we got to keep rolling. Like we hope you're okay, right? But we got to keep moving. Yeah, that's a different scenario. That's more concern for this person just as a human being rather than as a football player. An ankle will take you out of football, but stuff like that will take you out of life, and that's not something that you want to just kind of skip over or not pay attention to.
Could you even put yourself in a position with the Hamlin situation to go out there and hey,
Hmm.
in 5 minutes we're going to start playing again? Could you even imagine that?
I can imagine, especially after just how man how sudden it was and how quickly it went from all right, we're just playing, everybody's playing. That's the weirdest thing is everyone's in this state of you know uh adrenaline and everyone's tensions are high and it's a lot of high stress and everybody's bodies are flowing and then something like that happens and then you have to come down to earth and then once the time you come down and then you realize you're like well like you realize how serious the thing is. That's a really um it's really hard I guess on your nervous system like quite literally your central nervous system and your mind and your emotions. And I couldn't see myself being able to effectively actually play a game. um so obviously I know they had delayed it and stuff. So yeah, it would be hard for me to come back and to be able to play. You know.
No, no, I couldn't even imagine. Well, kudos on a fantastic season. It was going to be that whatever happened in the Orange Bowl, but you talk about capping it off in the right way. That was
Yeah.
incredibly impressive. So, look forward to visiting with you next week. And I know you have an important decision to make. So, we'll be thinking about you, Tennessee fans. I'm sure want you to come back, but also pray that Jacob makes the right decision. And I don't think there's a wrong decision, to be real honest with you.
Yeah.
I think you're golden. So, thanks again, and we'll visit with you next week. And don't stress on it too much, man.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I won't. I appreciate it.
He's Jacob Warren. I'm Dave Hooker. The Vol Report brought to you by Vassy Lawn and Garden. Man alive, it's worth the drive.